What's going on, Michael? There's my chat. That's what I was looking for. All right, we'll get this started in just a second. We will get this started in just a second. Here. All right, one second, guys. No alerts. 0 alerts. Wow. Is this coming towards the states? Possibly. Most model runs have this thing staying out to sea though, so it's looking pretty good right now. But we gotta watch it pretty closely. See what happens. No, severe weather is gonna ramp up. We've got all these temperature swings ahead. You can see we got a nice trough cold front moving through here. Another one there out east. Another one up here through the plains. Another one here. All this warm and cold air colliding. This is going to be we're probably going to see a decent amount of severe weather through beginning in mid-October through the end of October. With all these different fronts pushing through. So, we could have a pretty impressive fall severe weather season just because of how cold that the front end of winter is projected to be. I think our temperature swings will be a little bit more drastic than some other years once we move forward a couple weeks here. What's going on, Kyle from Dora, Alabama? Marissa, appreciate you. Like I said, most models do have this thing curving up to the north. Coming up here, staying as a fish storm. There are a few that take it over to the west. There's also some models that show a storm forming in the Caribbean here, not too far out, which we need to talk about. I can show you that. Let's take a look at our latest GFS. I'll actually just go out Western Atlantic. See if this will load. There we go. So, yeah, GFS has this getting pretty strong, potentially into major hurricane territory, cutting off to the east. But the GFS has continued to see this spin up. Now, in earlier models, it takes a storm into Florida, and this latest model takes like a tropical storm or hurricane into Louisiana. This is changing run after run. It'll continue to change run after run until we get a little bit closer. You can see here, if we go back to the 12Z, it had a hurricane making landfall in South Florida here. So it's trying to figure out what it thinks is going to happen here. And then it has another system behind it as well. So we'll see what happens. It's too early to really know. But there's signs there. Yo, what's going on, Vontiel? Can't blow it up big enough to really see. What do you mean? Turn your phone sideways if you're on TikTok, so it'll be bigger. You can watch the stream horizontal. B, what's going on? Yeah, I was feeling kind of crappy the last couple days, so I didn't I didn't stream. NTX, what's poppin'? Please tell me that Baltimore will have another snowmageddon this winter. It's possible. It's gonna be a pretty cold winter for a lot of people with the weak La Nina setup, amplified MPO here. Snow and ice is looking really, really good up here in the northern hemisphere compared to where we usually are at this time of year. We're way ahead of schedule up here. Way ahead of schedule, snow-wise here. Right on schedule, snow-wise here. Ahead of schedule, ice-wise here. The transfer of cold air is going to be easy. This is also going to cause some destabilization with our polar jet up here. We have very warm waters, or above average waters, to the Alaskan Strait here, and it's going to be interesting. Yeah, we got a little bit of cool air pushing in right now, B. Let's see. United States. Let's just take a look at our... I guess I'll take a look at the ATV. That's where we're at right now. Tomorrow, we're going to be at... You can see kind of as we get into the morning, we're kind of sitting around average, slightly above average, and then nice cool air. Tomorrow evening, below average air. That air continues to push off. You get a nice big cool down out east. This is as we get into Wednesday, Thursday this week. Nice big cool down out east. And then you have we got another big ridge settling in at the plains, but it shouldn't stick around for long. That ridge is going to settle in, and then what we think is going to happen is more cold air behind this. You can see this is when this is what you expect to see in October. Cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, and that's why we have a fall severe weather season. So our weather's going to be a little bit bipolar here. Not a little bit. Our weather's probably going to be very bipolar in October. The most bipolar it's been since spring. No surprise. There are some projections for some snow in the Rockies. Down the line, there's some projections for some snow potential in the northern upper Midwest. We can take a look at the GFS on here. Precipitation type. So, let me actually give me a second, guys. So here we go. We've got a little bit of snowfall out west here because we've got this nice cold front pushing down to the southeast. We'll have to see what happens severe weather-wise out here this week. We might get a little bit of severe weather out east. Pushing forward, the GFS does think we're going to get another pretty decent trough out west, putting some snow up in the Pacific Northwest. It's likely just going to be high elevation snow, not low elevation snow, but snow for the Rockies early season. And if we push to the end of this run, you can see it's trying to actually get, it sees a big upper level low up to the north here. If this were to shift a little bit south, you could end up trying to get early season snow up here, potentially northern Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, Michigan, something like that. But right now it has that a little bit too far north. We can take a look at the Euro. I believe it has that pretty far north as well. It's got our national blend of models. This will actually be an interesting one. Yeah, so this is our national blend of models. So blend of all our models. Definitely see some good snowfall potential for high elevation out west here. So Minnesota. Here, let me do this. Let's take a look at something. We're not going to get any snow in Minnesota quite yet, but taking a look at our 5-day precipitation. This is good. This is, I mean, really over the next 72 hours, we're going to get a decent amount of rainfall out here in this region, and the drought's been really growing here, so this will be nice from portions of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, PA, Virginia, New York, all of New England. Lots of precipitation on the way. What's happening here is we have this trough that's bringing this cold air. It's moving down to the southeast, and we've got a low pressure system moving into the coast here. This is going to link up with this trough, and this is going to drop a lot of rainfall through here for some people. You can see it pretty clear. What was I looking at it on earlier? Actually, you can see that on windy as well. Yeah, let's go here. Let's go here real quick. Here we go. Here's our jet. Actually, our jet's doing something crazy right now. Here's our jet stream, really wobbly. This is that cold air that's settling in right now. It's about to push in towards Omaha, Minneapolis. Gonna try to get down pretty far in the plains. But as this moves off to the east, you can see this low pressure system spinning here. This is gonna pick up this low, and it's gonna toss it right up the coast here. So definitely good amount of rainfall. Could get a little bit of severe weather in here. We'll see. I don't think there's anything too major coming up with that, but we could get some tornado chances up the coast here, depending on how this gets pulled up the coast. So, but right behind that, we'll have something similar happen again. Philly snow this year. Yeah, I expect Philly to hit their averages, which is, I know that Philly's been getting like 8 inches a year. Philly's average is about 18 inches a year, and I think they're going to hit at least their average, if not a little bit more this year, because I think we have a good setup for a nor'easter this year. You could hit your average in one snowstorm this year, I think. I really do. I think this is the year of the nor'easter. It's just a good setup for a nor'easter. Anything tropical? Yeah, we were just looking out there in the tropics. We got this bad boy. 50% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, 48 hours. 70% chance over the next week. Models do really keep this thing up to the north here, or out over the open ocean. But let's take a look over here. There are the GFS and Google DeepMind GenCast does see potential tropical activity in here. Something forming in the Western Caribbean over the next 7 days, or something in the Central Gulf. So I'm actually, even though we do have this high percentage chance of this storm forming out here, I think with our setup, it's probably going to stay out into the open ocean. So I'm actually more concerned on this region, on if we get cyclone development in here. Our waters are still well above average in the Gulf and Caribbean, and our subtropical jet is lighting up a little bit with those cooler waters in the Equatorial Pacific. So this is the area to watch right here. XB, XKJ. Liz, what's going on? Ooh, I like the pumpkin. How's the fam? Pretty good. Our whole house has been sick, on and off. You know, the kids get sick and we all get sick, so they make sure we get sick at least once a month. Play some. Do you think New Jersey will get first frost advisory this week? Yeah, you guys get a little bit chilly. You guys do get a little. You want to see what these temperatures could get down to here? Let's look at our apparent temperature. What we could see apparent temperature wise. Here we go. I'll push out east. U.S. regions east. All right. Let's look at. We'll take a look at the euro. Here we go. Look at that. That's pretty chilly. Can you see that? We're talking feels like in the 30s out here. You can see that 30-degree feels like line right there. It's all in the 30s. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then look at that. Look at the next day. Again. Pretty big chill at the end of this week. You're going to get warm air replacing it coming in after that, likely as we get to the end of the weekend. But again, there'll be multiple rounds of cold air moving up, as we move through in the coming weeks. So, what's going on, Ellie? Can you show Minnesota temperatures for this week? Yeah, sure. Let's look central. I mean, does it give me upper Midwest here? It does. Here you go. Here's upper Midwest. Got some nice cool air coming in tonight. Our Monday low is going to be, well, this is apparent temperature. I look at apparent temperature a lot because I care a lot more about what it's going to feel like than what the actual temperature is going to be. It's going to be similar though with this case if we look at normal temperature. We don't want anomaly. See, it's pretty similar. Apparent temperature, it's pretty much the same thing because there's not too much of a wind chill aspect to this yet. Pretty much the same apparent and normal. But yeah, then we get into Tuesday up here. Lows back down to the low 40s. Wednesday, Minnesota's all lows in the 40s and 30s on Wednesday as well. And then we start to heat back up a tiny bit Thursday. And then for the weekend, we're probably going to get a little bit of warm air pushing back in. But it's I mean, the 18Z actually of the Euro keeps our lows pretty cold through the weekend. So now, if we were to push out way ahead when there's a much bigger cold blast in the potentially in mid-October. You know, this would be. Yeah, we're talking low 30s pushing into Minnesota. So we'll see. This is pretty far out. Are we out of school for the hurricane? I don't think so. We don't got anything right now. What's going on, Brandon? 30-day outlook projection for North Texas. Well, nothing's going to be accurate after like 2 weeks. We're expecting a lot of temperature swings ahead here. It looks like our jet stream is going to get a little bit crazy here. This is, if we take a look at the next 2 weeks out here, North Texas gets a nice little cool down this week. Temps getting a little bit cooler, but then again, you get another ridge building up. You can see that ridge building up as we get into this upcoming weekend. Right behind there, again, this is so typical fall, but we'll have to see here. I mean, this is now we're looking pretty far out, right? Now we're looking October 17th. This is 12 days out, but you know, there's at least on the Euro, it sees potentially this is a pretty monster trough here. We're talking about temperatures down into the 30s in North Texas if this happens in a couple weeks. Not even a couple weeks, a week and a half. So this would be a pretty major cold front if it developed like this. I mean, we're talking about temperatures getting into the 50s all the way down here. Again, 30s and 40s in potentially Oklahoma, Kansas, North Texas. So we'll see, but this would be a major cool down for the entire country. Yeah, you've got low 20s out here in Nebraska if that were to happen. That's pretty far down the line though, so let's not get too crazy. When do I think Ohio will get their first snow? I expect a lot of people to get their first snow very early this year because of just the ENSO we're in and kind of I expect the polar vortex to be pretty destabilized early in winter. So I think we could get a good snow. I think you could get a snow in early to mid-November in Ohio. I'm not even kidding. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I think we're gonna have. It's gonna be an early start to winter. I appreciate the follows. For new followers. What's going on, Morgan? What about Dallas, Texas? Snow-wise, I don't know about that. You could get a little snow down there in December this year. Let me pull back here a little bit. I want to show you guys something. I talked about this in my video today. Which is pretty important here. Let's take a look at our pressures here, our heights. 500 millibar height anomaly. Right here. This isn't too far out. We're talking about 210 hours. And if you're talking about big patterns like this, like troughing patterns, you can see decently far out. We're not talking about local precipitation. You see this really, really large ridge building up over Greenland. Now out here we've got this low out towards the Azores. You guys know what teleconnection, what we would call this? Positive or negative what? What would we call this setup when we get blocking over Greenland? What would we call it? Give you a hint. It's a sign for cold air to stick around. I'll tell you that. Negative. I'll give you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint. Very negative North Atlantic Oscillation. This right here, it has to do with the pressure change, or the pressure difference out here. When you get a big block, over Greenland, instead of these troughs moving through and you get the cool down for 3-4 days and then it's hot again, your cold air sinks in and then it gets stuck. See how this cold air gets stuck and it lingers. When this happens, and this right here, this is our main jet stream. This would be quite the cold outbreak. This is our main jet stream, really dipping down. Look at this. This type of setup like this, you could have an early season snowstorm through Nebraska, the Dakotas, Iowa, Minnesota. If you had a system down here pulling off the Gulf and meeting up with some of this cold air, this is when you could get an early season big snowfall through portions of the northern plains and upper Midwest. And when you get that block, look what happens. That moves out, more cold air replaces it. You just get a funnel of cold air and it sticks around because you've got that blocking out to the east. So if we were to see this type of block develop here mid-October, interesting stuff could happen snow-wise, I would say, in this region here. So something to watch. Something to watch. Will Mississippi get any snow this year? Listen, your typical weak La Nina is well below average for a lot of people. I would say northern Mississippi could have a well below average or below average temperature-wise winter, which you would say that probably increase your chances there. But southern Mississippi is probably going to be, in a weak La Nina is typically warmer than normal. Precipitation-wise, though, Mississippi does see typically a lot more moisture in a weak La Nina. So, average to below average temperatures, more moisture. It's possible. Northern Mississippi, it's going to be tough along the Gulf. It's going to be real tough along the Gulf in a weak La Nina, though, to get any snow. What happened last year is a once-in-a-generation type of event. I wouldn't say I would say it's like once in a 50-year type thing. A foot of snow along the Gulf. Let's look at our AO. AO's going negative. NAO's going negative. PNA is interesting that NAO's negative. PNA is negative. Interesting at the same time. Nothing too crazy happening with the teleconnections right now. This is the biggest what if to me, and I wonder if the GFS is seeing this as well. The GFS isn't. Well, it is. It's seeing it later on. Here we go. Big blocking. Big blocking on the GFS as well, but it's a few days later than the Euro sees it. Wow. Interesting if we have that block set up end of October. That'd be very interesting. This is our Euro AI model. These models are getting pretty impressive. There's that block on the Euro AI. There it is right there. I mean, this sees a really, really powerful trough for the East Coast here. This is far out, though, again, in 12, 13 days. Take this with a grain of salt, but this would be major cool air here. This would be wind chills in the 20s. Interesting. Okay. So our Euro AI sees that block as well. Okay. Interesting. What does our ensemble see? Let me go back to our 12Z. Yeah, the ensemble really likes this. The ensemble really likes this. We could have a big October snow up here somewhere. I'm telling you. If that happens. What's the weather like for the Bahamas? Not this week, but next. Listen, that's going to be really hard to tell. The Bahamas is you're in the tropics out here, and it kind of creates its own weather. I could look at the GFS. We could look down the line really quickly, but take a look at the GFS here really quickly. This would be getting into, let's see, next week. We'll be starting at around the 13th. I mean, the GFS shows a lot of tropical moisture out there during the weekdays next week. But again, that's pretty far out. In the Bahamas, you can get rain every single day out there. It's the tropics, but it sees a lot of moisture. And this system as well is going to be pushing out here. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see. There you go. We're probably going to have a cyclone out to the east of the Bahamas. There it is right there, spinning right there next week, and then curving up. Hopefully that's what it does. It stays out to sea, but then you get a big funnel of moisture potentially next week through the Bahamas. That's because we've got our jet stream trying to dig in here and pull a lot of this moisture up. So right now it looks a little messy in the Bahamas next week, I'm being honest. You guys want to see our latest? What does the Euro think our 46-day snow total is going to look like? That's where the Euro thinks we're going to have snow in the next 46 days. Again, grain of salt. Remember, this is just. But I like showing this because this is a very, very aggressive stance from the Euro to show this much snow this early in the season, potentially. So it just shows how aggressive the Euro thinks the cold air is going to be moving forward here. It really does think the flip. It's going to be a front end loaded winter. So no problem, Christina. Dalton, what's going on? Weather Channel says down to the low 30s on Thursday for Central Ohio. Yeah, we can see that happening. Yep. Our 12Z Euro definitely shows some pretty big temperature anomalies out here. You can see we're getting 15 to 20 degrees below average out there in Ohio. So if I were to go in, I'll just push into the Ohio Valley, and we were to let's look at our apparent temperatures. Yep, gets into the 30s in Ohio. Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday. Yeah, definitely. Is Northern VA getting any snow this year? You're gonna have a much better chance for snow a little bit farther west in Virginia, but yeah, like I said, I mean, I think we have a good setup for nor'easters, so we get some snow there if we get a big nor'easter. Nebula, appreciate you. Silversh. How about the winter for Columbus, Ohio? Expect it to be below average temperature-wise, for sure. Snow could be pretty good as well. We're going to get a lot of Alberta clippers that come barreling through this region here. So we could see potentially really good snow in this area right here that I'm circling. Gemini, I appreciate you. How much is Fort Leonard? Where is that, Missouri? Missouri is expected to have a below average temperature-wise winter with it's tough. Missouri's tough. Will a lot of these, like I said, I think a lot of these Alberta Clippers might stay just in, maybe affect northern Missouri, but I would say an average snow-wise winter for Missouri, but temperature-wise, I think it's going to be pretty cold. What's the weather in Minnesota? What, currently? I gotta get on a flight tomorrow to go to New Jersey for work. Ay. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We're supposed to have a pretty wintry winter, let's say that. Cold, snowy, yes, for sure. The upper Midwest and northern plains are going to be frigid. Snow this winter in Georgia. Listen, unfortunately, the Southeast typically sees a warmer winter and a weak La Nina, and so does the Southwest. But we'll see. Not always. We've had some weak La Nina years where the Southeast actually ended up being below average temperature-wise. So it's not a guarantee. But like, if I'm being honest, like analog-wise, I would say it's like a 70% chance Southeast is warmer than normal. It doesn't mean you can't get a few big bursts of cold air when we have a polar vortex break, which we will. We'll have multiple this year, likely. And so, you know, rain in East Kansas tomorrow, potentially. Let's take a look. Here's our 48-hour rainfall. So Kansas is going to see a decent amount of rainfall over the next 48 hours. Eastern Kansas, not much. Northeastern, central, could see a decent amount. Oh, we don't want radar Omega, we want weatherwise. There we go. Yeah, I live in Minnesota now. Yeah, I lived in Pennsylvania, but I live pretty close to the New Jersey border. Yeah, I live in like Minneapolis Metro now. Chances of snow in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't think they're that high this year. Doesn't mean it can't happen though. I mean, we didn't expect, like I said, a foot of snow along the Gulf last year, and it happened, you know. Sometimes the weather just does what it wants, regardless of what we've got set up climate-wise. No, not supposed to be a strong La Nina. It's supposed to be a weak. Could get up to a moderate La Nina. It's possible. Our Enzo's actually, our temperatures came back up a little bit on the equatorial Pacific. Not really much, but I'll show you. You can see him taking a little bit of a curve back up. But we entered a weak La Nina back here, and we've been in a weak La Nina ever since. Your weak La Nina is between here and here, and then this would be your moderate, and then above that would be your strong. But as you can see, our temperatures, there's definitely a solid downward trend, but they've kind of leveled out at this point. So we'll be in a weak La Nina for the first half of winter. Does this start to come back up now, or, you know, and does that put us into a neutral going into next spring? That wouldn't be very good, because we probably have a major tornado season again. Enzo neutrals are historically very, very intense. Spring severe weather-wise. You keep seeing models say that the Midwest is going to get a ton of snow. It could, especially the Great Lakes region. I think we're going to have some insane lake effect snow this year, based off of how cold it could get and how warm it's been on the front end here. Will there be numerous mid-Atlantic nor'easters? I think there could be. I think we could get 2, maybe 3. Well, we might end up with none. But this setup will give us an opportunity for a few. You still need a little bit of luck. What's going on, Confused Blonde? What's cracking? Nashville could have a good winter, snow-wise, I think. I do. There's a weird anomaly. There's a very interesting precipitation anomaly with weak La Ninas, and it's the Ohio, from the Mississippi Valley up through the Ohio, like up to the Tennessee Valley here. Look at this precipitation anomaly. You see this? A lot of times in that region. I'm talking Kentucky, Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, far northern Alabama, Louisiana, and then even up there through West Virginia and portions of Ohio. A lot of times you have above average precipitation, and you're expected to be a little bit cooler than average. So yeah, you could have good snow. That's why I said in my winter outlook, that we could get some sneaky good snow in this area, just based off the temps and how much. There's usually a pretty decent precipitation anomaly from the Mississippi Valley up through northeastern Ohio Valley. It's pretty consistent with the weak La Nina. Got a warm MPO as well, so that's gonna juice it up. Very warm Gulf, very warm Caribbean, as we've had for the last 5-10 years. Sneaky good snow in Atlanta. It's gonna be tough. Atlanta's gonna be tough. All right, Allie. Thanks for stopping by. What's going on, Carrie? I'm not going to be on long. I got a flight tomorrow I got to catch, and I have some other stuff I have to get done with work. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to post a video tomorrow morning, but I'll be away, so I won't be able to stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I get back Thursday, so I think the goal will be to stream Thursday night and get back into the schedule. But yeah, I'm going to be out of town for a few days here, so I wish I could bring my computer with me. When's the first snow expected in Minnesota? I think we're going to get snow. I can almost guarantee you we'll get snow in Minnesota in October. I don't know how far south down, though, but northern Minnesota for sure is going to be in October, I think. Minneapolis might not be till, November, but... will it at least be cold in Atlanta this winter? It's going to be a hit or miss. Northern Georgia, northern Alabama, that portion down here. As I said, it's 70 to 80% of the time this region down here is above average in a weak La Nina. Not every time though. So it's a reason you can't say with full confidence. I can't say with full confidence that I think Atlanta's going to have a warmer than normal winter. But that's what the models would suggest and the analogs. Do you think it's going to be as cold as it was last year in North Florida? No, again, I think North Florida may be a little bit warmer than last year. Any idea of the weather for this Saturday? 10-11, North Carolina, South Carolina. Line, Ocean Isle Beach. 10th or 11th this weekend. Well, let's just take a look at this real quick. The GFS sees a lot of precipitation right off the coast of the Carolinas, but not in the Carolinas, which is good. Let's take a look at pivotal weather here. Let's compare some models. How far out's the NAM? Actually, 12K gonna see for me. Not far enough. Let me look at something here. Rufus. Yeah, I mean, the Euro is seeing this almost tropical, low pressure here, trying to actually get itself together. That would be pretty bad news for you out there. The GFS doesn't see it exactly the same. I think the GFS keeps it mostly offshore. It does. The GFS keeps that low right off the coast of the Carolinas, and it would probably be pretty nice weather in the Carolinas. But right now, that's a toss-up because the Euro thinks that low pressure is going to sit right off, is actually going to be pulling tropical moisture into South and North Carolina coast on Friday and Saturday. So we'll probably need another 48 hours to know if the GFS or the Euro is correct on this, because it's either going to be a very good day or a very bad day, depending on which one of these models is right for the Carolina coast here. So I think East Texas, what I think East Texas chances for snow are, I think Northeast Texas could have a decent year. Specifically, Northeast Texas. depending on where our jet sets up, we could see quite a split. We could see really good snow in here and maybe very little down here. What are my thoughts on the current hurricane season? Still think we're going to get some good activity in the Gulf and Caribbean in October. I think we really lucked out with Umberto pulling away Imelda there from a landfall. That system looked like Imelda looked like it was going to stall out and drop catastrophic rainfall in Appalachia, which would have been terrible. But hey, maybe our good luck continues. Everything would suggest increased tropical activity in the Caribbean and Gulf for October and November, but you know, clearly sometimes the suggestions are wrong. BC Jasmine, I appreciate you guys. Fuse bomb. Is something hitting the Northeast? Not right now, not in the near future. I gotta finish packing. I gotta get ready to get on my flight tomorrow pretty early, so I'm gonna hop off. Like I said, I'm gonna try to post a video tomorrow, but I'm not gonna be able to be back streaming probably until Thursday because I'm gonna be in New Jersey for a few days. I'm gonna be in New Jersey on a work trip on my birthday. I think my birthday is Wednesday. Yeah, my birthday is Wednesday. But so when I get back, we could celebrate my birthday on stream on Thursday night. That's when I'll be back. Yeah, I'm gonna be sitting in a freaking room training on my birthday. I'm not even gonna say the city, but in a no-name city in New Jersey. Yeah, thanks for the early happy birthday wishes, guys. But I'm excited to get back Thursday, do a little birthday stream, have some fun with that, and see what's going on with our weather. Everyone have a great night. Like I said, I'm gonna try to post another video tomorrow. I'll be back Thursday, so have a great night. Again, for anyone who's watching this for the first time, I typically stream 5 days a week. I post every single day. Wasn't feeling great the last few days, didn't post, but I posted again today. But if you want to join the Discord, just add me on Discord, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Connor's Climate Corner HQ. I'll add you into the Discord. It's an awesome Discord. Lots of good information in there. Lots of weather enthusiasts in there. So we're really trying to build up the Discord right now. I wanted to do a merch giveaway. I just didn't get away to it. Or I didn't get to it this weekend. I want to tell you, I'm 90% sure that we're doing a merch giveaway next weekend. This is I'm wearing one of our pieces of merch right now. It's pretty dope. See, Connor's Climate Crew. So, no strings, really comfy. But you just have to join the Discord, and you can get in there for the merch giveaway. If it lands on your name, you get to pick whatever you want from the merch store, and I send it to you, pay for it, and send it to you. So we'll do that next weekend. I wanted to get to it this weekend, and I didn't. Oh yeah, the new logo. Yeah, I gotta update it on my Instagram too. Yeah, my sister did that. I was like, we need to get the fall theme going here. We'll probably do a fall. We'll probably put that logo on something too. Maybe I can get that done. We can figure that out. That fall logo on a piece of merch before next weekend. All right, everyone have a great night, and I will talk to you. I'll be in the Discord this weekend. I'll probably be in my Discord more than normal because I'll be traveling and I won't be able to stream or anything. So I'll probably be chatting in the Discord. You guys can keep me updated. Female Jim Cantori will be in there keeping you guys updated, I'm sure. Shout out Leanne. Daniel, I appreciate that. But yeah, everyone have a great night, and I will see you later. Peace.